Hi guys, in this video we'll look at how to work with tags. We'll continue working on the project we have started in previous video. We've created a screen to monitor the smoke level in the office and added some graphic objects. Now let's create tags and bind them to the objects. First, let's create a group of tags, office and subgroup floor. Now we need to create two tags, smoke and temperature. Fill in the fields. Name. If you plan to use scripts in your project, use English in tag names and do not use spaces. Also, if you plan to use Telegram notifications about events for this tag, underscores should not be used in the name. Data type. Select data type from the list. Specify type depending on the range of possible values that tag can take. A description of each type you can see on the screen and can always look it up in the user manual. For our tag, let's set the type Boolean. If you select string or array, you must enter the number of elements, letters, and set the type of one element, letter. Be careful when setting data type. For a variable that stores integer values from 1 to 100, it is advisable to specify the type byte instead of integer. Although the program will work with both types, if the byte type is used, the variable will occupy 8 bits in memory instead of 32 bits when using the integer type. Access mode. Select read, write or read-write. If you select read-only mode, you will not be able to write a value to a tag, including through a script. Keep this in mind if you plan to use the script. We will select read-only because, according to the meaning of our example, the smoke sensor can only transmit data and not receive. Initial PV or default value. Let's leave false. Access level. If tag's access level greater than the access level of the current user, the value could not be written to the current tag by this user. Input-output. This section is needed to bind the tag to external equipment, controller, server, sensor, etc. Let's look at an example. We'll create server, for example Modbus. And you create a server depending on your equipment and the protocol you will use. When creating a server, fill in all fields according to your equipment characteristics. Now let's go back to tags properties. Select the server and PV input tag. Fill in these fields depending on the characteristics of your equipment. Let's specify discrete inputs. If the output servers tag differs from the input servers tag, check output differs from input. We can do this now because we have set access mode read-only. If we change it to read-write, we can set this field. Let's return all settings to local because we have a demo project. Otherwise, we will not be able to run the simulation in future. Now let's create a second tag, temperature, and using its example, we'll see how to fill out the scaling tab. The scaling tab is necessary if the controller transmits the value of some parameter in one range and you need to display it in another range. Suppose our controller transmits a temperature value in the range from 1 to 1000, and we need to bring it to the range from 1 to 50. Then in the raw value minimum and maximum fields, we set 0 and 1000. And in the engineering value minimum and maximum fields, set 0 and 50. You can also set the offset, the amount by which the tag value will be shifted. So when you get some value from the server application will use this formula. The Alarms tab. We showed how it works in the previous video. The link will be in the description. The History tab was also discussed in the previous video. Let me remind you that if you check Enable History checkbox, then the historical data will be written to a separate history database. And if you also check Store in DB, then the data will be written to the General History database. If you use a General History database, then you can use deadband. How it works? The tag value is written to the history database if it is different from the previous one. Let's assume the last tag value in the database was 10. If deadband, for example, is 1, then if the tag value becomes 9 or 11, then this value will not be written to the database. So, if the tag's value minus the last saved tag's value less than the deadband, the tag's value will not be saved in the general database. The Script tab. If you want the script to be executed based on the tag value, enable property, select Script, enter value to compare the tag value to, then set comparison type, and if necessary, deadband. If the tag value plus or minus deadband is greater or less than value, depending on the type of comparison operation, the script will be executed. The Cloud tab. Fill out this tab if you want to use this tag in the cloud and view it as a separate card in a web browser. Select the type of card that will be used to display the tag value. Below are the fields that are obvious to fill out. Color of tag card elements in the browser. From and to are tag values, range boundaries, color of elements for this range. Background color is filled in the same way. And now let's look at how to speed up the process of creating tags in projects where there are many tags of the same type. You can copy tags, groups and subgroups, and the last digit in a tag name will automatically increase. You can also use indirect names, group and subgroup in a tag name. Let's create another group. Let's create subgroup. And now let's create tag and give a name using indirect names in a tag name. Now let's rename subgroup. And you see, tag's name has changed automatically. In the same way, group indirect name is applied. Let's delete unnecessary tags. To quickly change the name of a tag without opening the tag properties window, use Set Editable option, and then you can change a name of a tag or group subgroup without opening window. Now let's see how to quickly bind tags of the same type to objects of the same type. First of all, you need to set up one object and then copy or duplicate it. So let's delete these two objects because we had copied them before tags were bound. Let's bind tag to the object. Open Property window, choose Property. Let's select Text Input and set tag. And the same for the temperature. So the first object is ready and now we can duplicate it. But I also want to show you how to set names to the same type objects. We can use indirect names of group. Set name to group object 101, and then set name to objects in this group in this way. Then let's duplicate this object. And now we need to change name to a newly created object. And you see all names automatically changed. We need only to change text. And now let's see the first way to quickly bind tags to objects by drag and drop technologies. Open tags and open object and use drag and drop. Now let's check. We got necessary tag. And the second method is by setting user-defined properties of the graphic object and using indirect tag names when binding the tag to the object. To show this way, we need to delete these two objects because first we should set up one object and then duplicate or copy it. Let's set user-defined property. Name it number and set value 101. And now bind tag using user-defined property. Choose this section and set tag name in this way. Specify name of user-defined property. And the same to the temperature tag. Okay, our first object is ready, so we can duplicate it. Change group name. And now change user-defined property value. It's easier to do it using property sheet. Save. And let's check what tags are bound to the object. You see, we got necessary tag. You can check which objects and scripts the tag is attached to by using option reference to. It is also possible to export tags to a file and then input them into another project. Use export tags and import tags. You can also export all tags to Excel and then also import tags from Excel into a new project. Let's export tags to Excel. Open this file. Here you can see information about all tags. Sometimes this information is very useful, or you can check settings in this way. That's all. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact us by email or in our forum. Subscribe to our channel so you don't miss new videos. Thank you for watching.